WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I have an independent bottler from Germany named Masters of Scotland, Malts of Scotland, not Masters, Masters of Malt and Malts of Scotland, MoS. And this is a Bunnahabhain. This is a 2013 distilled and 2020 bottled 6-year-old expression peated whiskey in a refill sherry hogshead. Yay. So MoS has their own little system. Each and every barrel that they have has their own number. So this is barrel number MoS 200555. Now the interesting thing about this whiskey for me is it's only 49.6% ABV after 6 years. That's not very much. That means the Angels basically, if it was filled at 63.5%, stole almost 14% in 6 years. That's way more than 2% a year. That's very, very unusual for Scotland. This bottle costs 79 euros. This is Whiskybase number 178024, and we have 258 bottles, and I have bottle number 153. So yes, this is rare and exotic. So what are we going to compare it to? Looky here, I have a Kilchoman, the Machia Bay. And yes, I know this is the bourbon and not the sherry edition, but I don't have the other one here. And so I wanted to have something from Islay. I wanted something as a direct comparison whiskey. Look at the bourbon and look at the sherry. You can really see the difference in the maturation and the color. All right, very, very good. I have a little bit left of the Kilchoman from my German video. It's enough for me. All right, so what do we have here? Bunnahabhain is a great distillery. If you ever have the chance to go to Islay, you have to go to Bunnahabhain. Very, very, very good. And Thomas Eva is the founder and the CEO of MoS, Malts Scotland. He's done a lot of different bottlings. It doesn't always have to be from Scotland. I've had some good American. I've had some great Indian. He has other things as well. He's bottled and he has put Banff, for example, one of the silent distilleries. He had a bottle there. Sometimes it's very, very expensive, almost 4 digits for the bottle because maybe there were like 44 bottles left in the cask that he had, and he has to, of course, have a good price for it. And some things are fairly okay in the price. 79 euros for a 6-year-old whiskey is a little bit higher end. That's more than 12 euros per year, which I think is a lot. All right, let's nose this thing. Oh, interesting, interesting. The peatiness is a mixture between an ashiness, cigarette ash, and a type of smokehouse bacon. That smokehouse bacon is something a lot of the different distilleries have had. Now this over here, the Kilchoman, is totally different. This has a salty, this has almost like an oyster moment. And the ash is a little bit stronger here. That has to do, of course, with the peat that is used. The different types of peat influence then, of course, the spirit. One person asked me online, Jason, could you please just name the ppm instead of the type of peat? Now, to be very honest, I don't know the ppm. I don't know what they're doing. If you do know the ppm that they used for this bottling here, please write it down in the chat. It would be very interesting to hear. I do know that there's a certain level they use the Moine, M-O-I-N-E, and for some of the other Bunnahabhains that are almost unpronounceable names that are long and very Gaelic and so on. But I don't know what they use for this. Sorry. And therefore, I'm describing it a little bit more in these different terms to show you what type of flavor I'm getting on the nose. All right, now the sherry is way behind there. I have a little bit of a herbal type of plum with brown sugar on top of it. I actually like this much better than I thought it was. I bought the bottle. I was in the process of buying the bottle, and then I read, oh, peated. I was like, why not? I'm on my trip now of becoming a whiskey. I'm going to use the word connoisseur. I like whiskey. I'm not an expert. I'm a connoisseur. And I've had well over 2,000 different whiskeys in my glass. I have over 2,000 videos of me drinking different types of whiskeys, so I know that that number at least is right. It's probably more like 3,000 by now. And for me, Islay has been an area I've more or less made a detour around. Starting about this year, 2021, I've been pushing my boundaries to see which types of Islay peated whiskeys I like, which ones do I not like. And so this was the main reason I bought this bottle, to familiarize myself with a certain type of Bunnahabhain peat. And that was the reason I picked the Kilchoman as the comparison whiskey, because it's totally different, and yet it's still from the same island. 46 versus 49.6%, not that different. 6 years, probably also 6 years old, maybe 4 to 5 actually. And so this is at least 80% bourbon, this is 100% refill sherry. Yes, there are differences, and yes, there are similarities. My comparison whiskey will never, probably usually not be perfect. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to try this. Cheers. As I said, the nose is not bad. There's more of a chocolatey type of ashy type of brown sugar plum going on here. And a little bit of that smokehouse bacon. Cheers. A little more heat than I expected. I just had a 64.5% whiskey, Jack Daniel's single barrel proof, not a problem. This has actually almost as much or even more heat than that did. Ooh, towards the end, it's really nice. So I'm going to graphically try to describe what happened here. It was like this at the beginning. It got hot. It was like, oh, there's a development there. The heat dissipated or went away. And it's like, oh, that's a sweet ending. Oh, a finish. Very nice. I like more than I thought it would. Question of the day. What is your favorite Bunnahabhain? The old 12s, nice. The new 12s, and the old 18s, delicious. The new 18s, well, there's a big change, a flavor drift going on at Bunnahabhain, in my personal opinion, and often it goes along with a redesign of the packaging as well. So at least you can recognize what's going on. They do change over the years, the 12 and the 18. So this is very nice at the end. It's a refill sherry, so probably we don't know what it was. The second time many companies use a sherry hogshead in Scotland, they do not name what it is. Was it Oloroso? Was it a Pedro Jimenez? Was it a Amontillado? Was it a Fino? Was it a cream? What was it? We don't know. And so it's just a sherry refill hogshead. Hogsheads are 100% made for the spirit. Sherry hogshead are 100% made, are seasoned barrels made 100% for the Scotch industry. Almost all the whiskey you're drinking today are made from seasoned barrels. Don't believe the fairy tales of bodegas giving up their old 100-year-old barrels for whiskeys that are double digits. Yes, they have, and yes, those whiskeys are out there, and yes, they are very expensive, and you will normally never try any of them as a normal person living in this time and day and age. All right, almost everything we're going to get is a reseasoned. So I had a little argument the other day about, I said, hey, 95% of what you drink is a seasoned hogshead if it's sherry. And he said, no, it's not. I said, name an example of a single malt Scotch that's not. He said, Michel Cuvée. Cuvée is what it's called. And it's a guy over there in France. And I said, it's not Scotch. It's not bottled in Scotland. He was like, oh, yeah, you're right. It's single malt, but it's not Scotch. I said, yeah, it's not even single malt often. He mixes different distilleries together, and so it's not even that. And he does use those old casks. And some of his stuff that Michel Cuvée overaged is fantastic. But it's not Scotch. All right, so this is Scotch, so this is good. I'm going to give this a decent C+ on my scale. It even gets better if you add a tiny little bit of water and you take it down to about 45%. The heat dissipates. You have a much longer, I still have the finish in my mouth, by the way, a much longer period of time where it just develops and then it just ends up at a very high level. I love a whiskey. I prefer a whiskey, let's say that starts in the middle and develops and ends in a very high moment than a whiskey that goes, wow, and then at the end it just kind of dissipates and is gone. I love that finish. How much time do you have the whiskey in your mouth? 30 seconds tops. 3.5 minutes later, I'm still talking about the finish, and I can still experience that whiskey. It's still there. That's the significance of a good whiskey, my personal opinion. All right, a little bit of water. One last try. Cheers. Mm-hmm. A chocolatey type of light cigarette ash type of moment with a tiny little smokehouse and that plum with that brown sugar on there. Very, very well done. Nice, nice, nice. C plus, value for money, C minus, just because I don't like paying 80 euros for a 6-year-old whiskey. If it would have been 50 euros, I would have went, it's still expensive, but 80 euros is just way out there. But hey, the market is what it was. The market over here, this was sold, I think, within 10 minutes. This bottle was gone with my super fans. So hey, that's just fine. Over here, one last time, the Kilchoman. Now, about 3 years ago, the first time I had a Kilchoman, this bottle is about 2 years old, by the way. More than half empty. Should be drinking it or sharing it more. I couldn't drink this. This was just way too much for me. Kilchoman has a much stronger type of peat that they're using. Now, this is not bad, actually. Now that I'm getting used to the peatedness and the Islay taste of whiskeys. I'm still not there where I need to be or where I should be or where other people are, but I'm getting there. Have patience with me. I'm documenting my journey of becoming a whiskey connoisseur. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I definitely get why people like it. It's much, much brighter. It's much shinier. There's more of lemon here. This is, as I said, plums with brown sugar. The bourbon and the maltiness shines here. Nice. And the peat is well integrated and a totally different flavor profile. Interesting, interesting. All right, thank you very much. Like, subscribe, tell others, maybe even share this video on social media and show other people about the bottles they can't get, or they might only find in auctions, or maybe only will ever see online here. As I said, 258 bottles. When they're gone, single cask, they're gone. All the best. Whiskey Jason here. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.